Hi guys, welcome back to Ask a Lawyer channel. Hope you had a nice weekend. I'm back today with 3 new stories for you. Let's go to the first one, about OP's boyfriend's sister, who is upset that her brother doesn't spend enough money on her daughter after he started dating OP. Enjoy the stories, guys, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and of course, leave a comment. My boyfriend is one of those people that love giving gifts. If he loves you, he goes all out for you. Last Christmas, he gave his sister $1,000 and spent another $1,000 on his niece's gifts. She's an only child, so she definitely had a very Merry Christmas. At that point, we had only been together for around 3 months, so it definitely was none of my concern or business. Instead, I set a limit with him on the gifts we got for each other, and we had a great time. So, I'm a cheapskate. I'm great at budgeting, bargain shopping, and lying in wait for sales. Boyfriend loves it. He asked for my assistance in saving, shopping in a smarter way. I said sure, and I've helped him handle a lot of his money-wasting habits. He now cooks instead of ordering out 5 times a week. So far, it's estimated that he's saving around $200 more a week from food alone. The issue comes in when it comes to his niece and getting gifts for her. Basically, he's been the fun single uncle with money to blow. He expressed regret at spending the $1,000 last Christmas because his niece was only 5. She's easily scared, so she was terrified of the pink Cadillac ride-on he bought and only used it twice. The other gifts were used for about 1 or 2 weeks, then she was on to the next big thing. That's what kids do. So he asked me to tag along when shopping at Toys R Us and help him form boundaries and limits. So, first issue. His niece is used to saying, "Uncle, I want," insert toy name, when she sees him, and he'll have it purchased and ready by the time he sees her again. Instead, we agreed on 1 or 2 surprise gifts per month, so she learns to enjoy being in his presence for more than just the opportunity for fun toys, since she did come to expect a gift from him. They see each other very often, so he used to be getting her 8 or 9 new toys a month. Second issue. His niece was used to telling him, cutely, to open his wallet and let her see, and she would then ask for money. He was never a fan of this, but his sister and her husband found it funny. I urged him to put an end to that completely, so a no, or a jokey "get a job," is now the reply. He still surprises her with $5 occasionally, but now it's an actual surprise or a gift. Third issue. I feel like this last one is what tipped his sister over the edge. His niece's birthday came, and boyfriend took me with him to Toys R Us. I talked him out of buying a pogo stick, a 4-foot-long $300 children's telescope. His niece mentioned she liked looking at stars. And another bike. She has 3. Instead, we settled on an $80 telescope that wouldn't take up all the room in their house, and multiple Moana-themed toys since that's her favorite movie. As expected, this load of toys got used for 2 weeks. She only used the telescope 3 times. He was pretty ecstatic that shopping cheaper still had the same outcome. So obviously his sister noticed that less gifts were coming into the house, and that my presence in his life was growing. My birthday came after his niece's, and he ended up surprising me with tickets to see a comedian, and then the next day he surprised me with a short trip to Canada. Yeah, so his sister found out, and she's super unhappy. When they spoke, she asked why his girlfriend is coming before his family, and if his cheapness is because I'm forcing him to give me his money, and why his niece is getting less than me because she would have enjoyed going on a birthday trip too. She also made him aware that she dislikes me and thinks I'm a gold digger, which from her point of view, I can slightly understand if I try really hard. All she sees is girlfriend gets a trip while her daughter is getting less extravagant gifts. But this isn't the case. I'm still a cheapskate. I have a little pizza party every time one of us manages to save another few hundred. I love saving money, and seeing people save for a rainy day makes me happy. I'd like to mention that his sister makes around $60,000 per year, which is combined with the $70,000 her husband makes. If there was a less stable financial situation, then I'd be contributing to his niece's care as well. But this isn't care, this is gifts. Boyfriend makes around $65,000 too, if anyone is curious. So I don't know what to do here. I think she's worried I could possibly be financially using him, which is mixed in with her being annoyed that her kid is getting less than she's ever gotten. I don't want her to dislike me or think I'm a problem. Is there anything for me to do here? Or maybe a script for my boyfriend to use when he speaks to her? I'm really bummed that she thinks so lowly of me. I think OP's boyfriend's sister is delusional, and she will raise an awful child if she keeps this up. I think OP should just ignore her. OP's boyfriend is clearly on OP's side here, so I'd just keep doing what they're both comfortable with and ignore her bitchiness. Boyfriend's sister is used to having all his attention on her and her kid. She's just gonna have to get over it. She's mad because she and her husband are the ones using OP's boyfriend. When OP was describing the situation, I assumed her boyfriend was pulling in well over $150K and more like $200K a year by describing how cavalier he was with money. He isn't making nearly enough to be blowing it on his family like that. He needs to set clear and firm boundaries with his sister. Me and my best friend, James, 32 male, started our own company 5 years ago. James and I grew up together, went to school together, college together. He is truly a brother I have never had. My husband and I met 4 years ago and have been married for 2 years. Thank God, no children. Me and James came from a well-off family. Even at an early age, we have been taught how to manage money wisely, how to separate finances, etc. I met my husband after I had started my company. While drafting the partnership agreement, James and I had the legal papers drawn that both of us have to sign prenups in the event of getting married to someone. My husband was well aware of the fact that if he is to marry me, he is to sign a prenup, by which he is to receive $1 million if we divorce, but nothing more, no house sharing. But in the event there is proof of cheating, he will not be eligible to the money. He had his own lawyer explain it to him and signed it. My husband is an engineer who is currently jobless and has no interest in looking for one because I literally provide for everything. As to James, he married his wife who wanted to stay at home and raise their son, 10-month-old. Our marriages were good, or at least we thought they were good, until last year. My husband and his wife repeatedly told us that they were jealous that James and I were close. I have never had any romantic feelings for James, and neither does he for me. But still his wife was pregnant, and for the sake of our marriages, we stopped hanging out completely outside our work. We still had the same friends, so avoiding each other in social circles was impossible. Anytime there was a party, it is an almost guarantee that our spouses will find some fault and pick a fight. All last week, we were busy dealing with a new client. James was almost going home after midnight. I always left before 9. With an infant at home, I asked James to leave early yesterday, and anything left, I will get done. After a long time, he actually went home when there was still sunlight. Not even an hour later, he calls me and tells me to drop everything and come to his home. Fearing something was wrong with the baby, I had to rush and found the baby sleeping, and Nanny was in tears sitting beside James. All the time my husband and his wife were accusing me and James of being close, they were both screwing around with each other. I am the logical thinker in the business, and James is the analytical one. The look on their faces when they came down after their romantic time to find us waiting for them with the nanny is one that is going to be with me forever. I think at that moment they both knew they had been outed. I have kicked my husband out of my house, and James has kicked her out and has asked for a paternity test. Currently, the baby is with his parents. I am angry and feel so betrayed. Months and months of having to explain that nothing is going on between me and my best friend, and walking on eggshells have led me to find out my husband is a lying cheat. If he was unhappy in this marriage, he could have walked out. I am having a hard time coming to terms with why he would do that. Why would he throw away what we had? I am not having any regret that I sent him packing, but now, sitting alone, please, help me understand I didn't ruin my marriage. Should we have tried counseling? Update. Thank God for small favors. The paternity test came back, and the baby is James's. James doesn't like to extend any conflict. If money can solve a conflict, he doesn't hesitate to use it. Hence, when the baby's mother demanded money to sign away her parental rights and the divorce papers, he readily paid her. My ex refused to sign the papers when the attorneys first asked him if he would do it for $100,000, and we finally had our first hearing in the court. The judge is a truly no-nonsense woman and has openly stated that she is inclined to hold the prenup to its value. Now knowing that he might not get any money from me, my ex wants the money that was offered to him to sign the paper. I don't want to give it to him. He didn't do anything to deserve a single penny to the money. James feels that if we give him the money, he will sign the papers and I will be free and never have to see him or interact with him again, which is also so true. Ever since he was kicked out of the house, my ex had been blowing up my phone, sending me emails daily, texting me, stopping by the office, hanging around the coffee shops which he knows I frequent. This is causing me so much anxiety and stress. I know this is the main reason James wants to settle the money, and I am having doubts about which way to go. This sub and everyone who commented were of so much help last time. Right now, I am looking for advice on how to handle this. Should I settle, which will cost me, but not completely stress me out? Or should I not pay a penny to my slimy ex? In my opinion, OP should not give her ex anything that he's not legally entitled to. Personally, I'd fight for every single penny because he doesn't deserve crap. Also, I am not sure if OP pays him off, she will never see him again. Where is the guarantee? Unless OP will get a restraining order against him for harassing her. Also, she should stop blaming herself that their marriage didn't work out. It is not her fault. She is the victim. She was cheated on. I, 28 female, have been dating my boyfriend, 46 male, for 9 months. His daughter is 18 and his son is 15. My boyfriend has been split from their mother for 2.5 years and just settled everything. The kids took the divorce very hard. We decided to plan a vacation and take the kids with us for a full week. I don't have any kids and have never been in a relationship with someone who has kids. I had only spent time with the kids for a night or so before. I figured I could adapt and learn to enjoy my time with them. The week started out great. We enjoyed our time, lots of laughing and exploring. After a couple days, the kids start relaxing and really opening up. I started to notice the typical kid things like gossip, loud music, being excited, wanting to do everything and see everything. But eventually, they started to become rude and obnoxious to other people and sometimes to us. I especially noticed this when we would go out for lunch or dinner and how rude they were to waitstaff. They also kept making racial comments and continued dropping the N-word, which I was not cool with. My boyfriend told them to knock it off, but eventually gave up. A couple of times, his son yelled out the window at people for being idiots and even chewed out a woman for almost hitting our car. I understand that situation can be scary, but there was a better way of dealing with it. I was so embarrassed. It got to a point where I was not enjoying my time and my boyfriend turned into a completely different person. There were certain times he snapped on me for no reason and when confronted, denied it even occurred. My boyfriend and I had been in a fight all day after he snapped on me. Typically, we just ignore each other until we cool down. I had spoken to him later in the day of maybe catching a flight home early. He must have told the kids, and at one point in the car, they started swearing and screaming that I had disrespected their father. I was shocked. I tried to explain that they didn't understand the situation and that we were working through something, but they continued. Eventually, my boyfriend told them to knock it off. I found it so inappropriate. Eventually, this was my tipping point, and I decided to catch a flight home. My boyfriend was heartbroken. I feel like I made a mistake as I am making my way home. He begged me to stay. I told him I didn't like the way he spoke to me in certain situations, and there was times I brought up some concerns with his children, but he would not even hear me out. He is very protective of them and gets mad at me if I say anything regarding them, even over simple concerns. I told him I think he is blind to their behavior. I know he feels guilty about the divorce, but they need boundaries. He turns into a mush whenever they are around, and many times has said whatever his daughter says goes. I also confessed to him before I left about being disappointed on how he had handled a situation earlier with them in the month. Their family went up to my family's cottage. They did pay, but only a third of the price, which was dirt cheap for a week. When they left, the kids had made a huge mess in our guest cottage where they stayed, to the point where my family had to replace some things because of the damage. They also left food in the bed sheets, and my dad found vaping stuff in the cupboards. I was so embarrassed, especially since I asked him to triple check where the kids were sleeping to make sure it was clean. We get mice if food is left out. He sent them a text, and they said sorry to him over text, and that was it. Am I wrong for expecting them to apologize to me? I love my boyfriend and can't imagine life without him, but I don't enjoy being around his kids. I know that makes me a horrible person. I don't want him to pick between us, and I love seeing him happy when he is around them. The divorce has been hard on him, and I'm glad he can see a future with them soon. I just don't feel like I fit. I understand it's early, but I'm looking into the future, and I can't imagine even owning a home with my boyfriend and having them live there. Did I make the right choice by leaving? How do I even navigate through our future? Maybe there isn't one. Guys, OP is 28, and I don't understand why she wants to be dealing with all of this nonsense. OP's boyfriend is a weak parent with out-of-control kids, and even worse, he's the type of parent who turns on other people when his own children misbehave, rather than disciplining the children. OP should keep in mind that her boyfriend's kids are created by him. OP might love him, but his kids are literally a product of him as a person, and his unwillingness to discipline them for what is genuinely antisocial behavior means he is a morally weak man. I also think that OP's boyfriend, by not respecting OP's family's vacation home and not insisting that his children respect OP, showed that he doesn't respect OP. I really think OP needs to break up with him. Do you agree with me, guys?